Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the laws of love. A book unique that talks about the laws of God, which is the laws of love. Many people are afraid of justice, right? Because they feel, I'm going to be punished. But the laws of God are laws of love. God educates us. He created a system to teach us a new pathway. But sometimes we're rebellious, like the prodigal son, we're far away. And God created a system to remind us of our way back home. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Yes, how Spiritism helps in the treatment of illnesses. It's our way back home. And two mediums, Waldo, Vieira and Chico Xavier, helped bring forth this book in 1963. Now, thanks to a beautiful effort in two realms here at Cardiac Radio, we have this book to you in this discussion, in this free translation. This book is an educational booklet that talks about the Spiritist view on suffering. And we're going to see 8 chapters. We've already covered one. Chapter 1, the spiritual causes of illnesses. Now we're going to skip a few chapters, going straight to chapter 7, which is about the Spiritist treatment. Treating illnesses and Spiritism, basically. And today, we're going to talk about question number 1 in this chapter. Somebody asked Emmanuel, the spirit author, Spiritism, can Spiritism contribute with the treatment of illnesses, of diseases? What do you think? Of what we know thus far, do you think Spiritism can help? How so? Let's see Emmanuel's answer. Since the Spiritist doctrine expresses the living Christianity, it not only opens a new way of seeing our radiating immortality, but it also sheds light so we, our humanity, can clarify the pathway. Thus, Spiritism has a specific role in the treatment of illnesses that go through in human mind, because it teaches the medicine of the soul. And in foundations of constructive love and re-edification. In the pathway of terrestrial experiences, in each part we're going to find imbalances that are expressed as individual or collective infirmities. Okay, so this answer talks about the medicine of the soul. Spiritism teaches about the medicine of the soul. How so? First, he begins Spiritist doctrine. Some people don't like the word doctrine, right? But here he means Kardec, since Kardec's time, he means doctrine in the sense of set of principles, and a set of principles that lead us to relive Christianity as is. Not sometimes so much the Christianity we see nowadays. How can a truly Christian person be a white supremacist? Impossible. A true Christian? Impossible. How can a true Christian be racist? Impossible. How can a true Christian have prejudices against anything and anyone? Impossible. So we need to revisit our Christianity, our Christ consciousness, and that's what Spiritism does. You know, since 1864, Allan Kardec brings to us a new view on the gospel of Jesus. What we feel about Jesus is this all-encompassing proposal of love and constructive love. So here, it says that Spiritism sheds light. How so? By talking about the causes of illnesses, by talking about why we are together in our relationships, by talking about the pathologies of the soul, by making us understand that we don't live only one life, but many, many lives. Spiritism brings to you and I a new understanding about who we are. For example, let's talk about the pandemic. First thing, this is not punishment. I know, since ancient times, and if you read Emmanuel's books, the novels, 2,000 years ago, 50 years later, etc., you and I are going to see that since ancient times, we thought that people got sick because the gods punished them. And to date, we still think of this. Oh yeah, that person is evil. They are going to pay. No, that's a fallacy. Because there are many people who are nowadays seem not to be suffering. And that doesn't mean they're not going to suffer. Or they are not actually suffering. So we need to understand that there is no God imposition of punishment. God doesn't punish. God only educates us and gives us another opportunity. Because God is love. And He created laws that are laws of love. But sometimes we are so far away from divine harmony that inevitably, to bring us back, we have to walk all the way back, and that may be difficult. I see many people, when they get into drug addiction, how hard it is to get out. Any type of addiction. Very hard. So, that way out of addiction, back to harmony, back to close relationship with God. Spiritism explains that without God, there's no health. Medicine of the soul. So we're going to use our whiteboard to write down the points we cannot forget. Shall we, friends? Right? So I'm going to write here, sharing the screen, whiteboard. And in this whiteboard, you and I are going to talk, right? And we're going to talk about the medicine, Spiritism as medicine of the soul. The first thing it does, it helps us understand, right? It helps us understand. 1, it sheds light on, and I'll quote from Emmanuel, all right? He says, it's going to shed light on our pathway, on the, okay, I'll write this first. 3 points, on our pathway. What does that mean? It means that Spiritism will be able to help you and I look at our lives from a different angle. Sometimes you look at somebody who is difficult with you, and you think, oh, this person is a bother. They are not allowing me to grow. But why does God allow that person to be in our life? There must be something. The day I surrender to that relationship and I think, God gave me that person to love, to understand, to be patient. Spiritism is shedding light, creating health in our relationships. Nowadays, people get sick. And people go, oh, what did I do? One thing that I observe when people get COVID is that blowing the ego. Oh my gosh, I'm vulnerable. Spiritism is saying, who is not? Only God is unbeatable. We are creatures, right? So why that pride? We see people who catch COVID-19 and unfortunately they don't want to talk about this with people. They don't want to disclose that they get sick. Pride. We humble ourselves. Chico Xavier was always so humble. And look at Christ. Jesus Christ, so humble. He was betrayed, and yet he didn't pretend to be unbeatable. He allowed himself to be martyred. And many people are like, why didn't he stop it? Why? That pride in us, we need to crush, literally, crush it. I get sick, so what? Who doesn't? Chico Xavier himself never hid the fact that he had illnesses to pretend he's a super medium. And I see people nowadays, they have issues, they have problems. I don't tell anyone. I'm not gonna say this. Come on. Are you gonna hide when you die? There's no hiding. Some people think, like Fulvia in the book 2,000 years ago, when she sees somebody whom she didn't like, competition, right? A woman died. She's like, yeah, the gods are in my favor. What in the world? Since when death is bad? Vanessa, but is that good? Well, I guess life and death are good. Because there's only one life, the life of the spirit. We use clothes, incarnate, and then discarnate. I'm not going to say it's easy because on earth, we're still in a lot of learning experience. But we need to think that there is always life continuum. Spiritism sheds light. Explains to us that there's no need to be full of pride or selfish. When we are sick, we're not being punished. We're actually being educated by God in a very loving way because we're expunging those harmonies that we created. Number 2, Spiritism brings the understanding of constructive love. Is there a destructive love? No, but he's just reinforcing the love builds the good. When are we going to heal? When we open our hearts to love. When we love, that's exactly what it is. Constructive love. What about you? Scale 0 to 10. You want me to draw it? We can draw. This is a beautiful conversation. Here we are together. Here we are. Scale 0 to 10, okay? Let's say 0, and then here. Then, in terms of love, constructive love, love that is liberating, that is freeing, where do you think you are? Any number you think, write it down. You thought of a 5, write it down. Not to us, because you don't need to disclose. To you. Is it a 2? Is it a 10? Well, we are all here to learn, and Spiritism helps us understand that the law of love is the only law that exists in the universe. If we resist the invitation to love, we will suffer. It's when you go to work and you're thinking of vacation because you're not putting love in your work. Because when I put love in my work, it becomes a vacation because I love it. I enjoy it. The other day, somebody told a person that I know. Let's listen to this. This person came to a physician and asked, well, I got COVID-19 and I healed. It's been 2 months. Should I be vaccinated? Should I get vaccinated or not? And the answer of this wonderful soul, this physician, was, if you were my grandfather, I would say yes. See? When you put love in your work, you help people. And we heal. On the contrary, I know somebody who was at a physician and had COVID-19. I hear so many stories, besides our personal stories about it. And the person had difficulties breathing, etc. Was already taking medications. And the person, the physician, the nurse actually at the urgent care said, there's nothing else we can do here to help you. You have to go home and wait. If that person were your father, mother, someone you loved, would you say that? No. But then we don't love, right? So then we just dismiss. Spiritism, as the medicine of the soul, brings to us the awareness that when we understand that the healing comes with love, we open our heart to love. And then naturally, the next step will be what? Number 3. Spiritism is going to help us rebuild our lives. Let's say you have cancer. You had cancer. Somebody here had cancer. It's not a death sentence. It's an opportunity for us to cleanse. Is it easy? No. But there's always a way, like Claire Riviere in the book Heaven and Hell, a terrestrial expiation. And you can listen to the cases in 54 voices at Kardec Radio's podcast. All the cases there beautifully said to bring new life. So here we have Spiritism bringing to us the understanding, like Clara Riviere. She prayed, only 10 years of age. She believed in her guardian angel. She could sense his presence. Her pains were soothed by the spiritual classes of the spirits. When you get sick, prayer is number 1. Taking medication, number 2. That's why at the Spiritist Society of Virginia, we were asked by the good spirits to create like a package, a spiritual aid kit for people who are sick of COVID or other illnesses. You can go to the website Spiritist Society of Virginia, ssvirginia.org, and I'll write it here for you. I'll write down for your reference, ssvirginia.org. Sorry. And then when you go to the tab COVID-19 Spiritual Aid Kit, you are going to find prayers, visualizations, passes, a whole affirmations to help you overcome this challenge. It's a very important experience that we would say for you and for me, it's vital to pray. Spiritism comes to us to understand, to explain that there are good spirits who love us, who take care of us in our illnesses. That faith is so vital, and when we reason our faith, it's unshakable. So here's a reasoning that Spiritism helps us when we're sick. If God loves us and allows us to go through this experience, it's because there must be something good about it. Easier said than done, but possible, not impossible. You and I are being asked today to do what? To practice in the next 24 hours. Shed some light in our lives regarding greater health. Health is not only the physical body, it's the mind, relationships, spiritual connections. So we want to feel how much Spiritism helps us heal our lives, bringing us to greater health. Let's see what happens. And especially focus on constructive love. Let's open our hearts. Everywhere we go, we say, I open my heart to love God's creation. That's a beautiful affirmation for us. Constructive love. Everywhere we go, at home, at work, shopping, driving, sleeping. I am open to love God's creation in people, animals, plants, in ourselves. This is it for today. Come back tomorrow, because tomorrow Emmanuel is going to tell us about the pathologies of the soul, how Spiritism can help us heal them. Come back for more, because here in Laws of Love, there's a lot of love. And at Kardec Radio, we're always nourishing our souls. Thank you, friends. See you tomorrow, God willing.